Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, January 5th. Quite an active weather pattern for the foreseeable future. We have a lot going on. Kind of a difficult time period for the computer forecast models. Not only a lot of energy in the upper part of the atmosphere, and we'll take a look at that in a moment, but an ongoing stratospheric warming event to deal with as well. And that tends to lead to a period of high latitude blocking. So a lot going on, and we'll have to monitor each one of these storm threats kind of on an individual basis. There is one low pressure area that will head towards the Carolinas late in the week on the Friday night time frame, and it currently looks like it'll stay just to the south and east of the DC, Philadelphia, New York City corridor. Won't take much for a move to the north to change that outlook, however, but for right now it still looks like it's headed just to the south and east of the I-95 corridor region. Then there'll be another kind of a similar tracking low pressure system early next week, Monday, Tuesday time frame. Too early to say exactly on the details for that one, but that too could come up to the mid-Atlantic coastline again during the early part of next week. I want to start off here with a temperature anomaly forecast map available at WSI Incorporated. This is from the European model run for later next week. It's really a full week of temperature anomalies here, and take a look at the cold that's coming to Europe, and I'm talking colder than normal. These are all anomalies right here, and basically throughout the heart of Europe and into the Siberian side of Asia and Russia. Colder than normal conditions coming, and no doubt the stratospheric warming event that is ongoing right now is going to play a role in this change in temperature over Europe. And why do I show that here? Because sometimes things happen first in Europe before they come to the eastern part of the U.S. in terms of, let's say, colder than normal conditions in week 2 in Europe could very well indicate they may be coming to the eastern part of the U.S. shortly thereafter. And certainly that has been the case in recent history during stratospheric warming events, where things tend to change first over there before they do over here. So this is something interesting that we'll obviously continue to monitor along with this stratospheric warming event over the next couple of weeks. Well, in terms of this stratospheric warming, here is the latest look at 10 millibar level, way up at the top of the atmosphere, the temperature analysis that we're seeing right now. Here's the North Pole. Again, this is kind of a top-down view of the northern hemisphere, the U.S. down in this region right here, and Europe, by the way, over where the polar vortex is currently sitting. But we have had a stratospheric warming event, warmer conditions now over the North Pole, and the original polar vortex is kind of split into two. One piece down across southern Canada, northern U.S., and another piece over European continent right now. So again, a stratospheric warming event. And watch what happens when we go 10 days out. And here it is, 10 days out, and again it changes. Let's flip this back to the current 10 days out. Notice still some stratospheric warming over the polar region, and this stretched out polar vortex extending on the other side of the pole all the way into the eastern part of the U.S. So something to monitor. It usually is a sign that very cold air masses from the high latitudes come down to the middle latitudes, and we're seeing in some of the forecasts that, at least initially, those very cold air masses are going to flood Europe with some colder than normal conditions later next week, and certainly possible same thing happens in the central and the eastern U.S. later in the month of January. I first wanted to show the 500 millibar vorticity forecast maps from last night's operational run of the GFS at 0Z to show how active this weather pattern is going forward, and really how complicated it is as well. The computer forecast models have to deal with waves of energy in the northern stream and the southern stream, how they'll interact with each other to go along with the stratospheric warming and high latitude blocking. But Here we are as we begin the day on Tuesday, and cold frontal system is sliding through the mid-Atlantic region today with a couple of rain showers, maybe a couple of snow showers, not a heavy precipitation event, but cloudy, the threat of a shower at just about any time, chilly as well. Let's just move forward here and just watch all these areas in orange here represent spins in the atmosphere, the upper part of the atmosphere, the mid and upper levels. And this is, as we go later in the week, the system that we'll be watching here, diving down south and east into the south central states by Thursday, and then it starts to make a turn to the north and east. But notice there's a northern stream system here. This is the Friday afternoon forecast map, so the interaction between these two will waves of energy will have an impact on exactly that where that storm on Friday heads. Right at this particular time, it looks like it'll be over maybe the Outer Banks region, somewhere along the Carolina coastline, perhaps head on out to sea at that particular time, staying south and east of the I-95 corridor region. Still a close call, still something that has to be monitored over the next couple of days. Then we go beyond that, and just look at this. We have one player on the field here, another one here, here, here. 5 different areas of upper level vorticity as we start the upcoming week in a very active weather pattern across the nation. Then we move forward across the weekend time frame. This is Sunday morning, and then we go into the early part of next week. And here's that next storm threat, at least the upper level energy associated with that potential storm system. It looks like, again, by let's say Monday morning or so, early next week, maybe another low pressure area down in the southeast, heading up to the north and east. Whether or not it impacts significantly the I-95 corridor region, a little too early to say. We have to deal with the Friday system first, but this is what we're dealing with. A lot of energy, not only down here in the Tennessee Valley region come early Monday, but another wave of energy up across the northern stream, and how they interact dictates the storm track. So we just keep moving forward in time, and continuation of all these waves of energy. So certainly an active weather pattern, a difficult weather pattern for the computer forecast models, a complex weather pattern to deal with over the next couple of weeks. Well, let's now take a look at the surface forecast maps from the operational run of the GFS from last night at 0Z. Again, an isolated rain or snow shower today at just about any time in the I-95 corridor region, as kind of a reinforcing cold front moves in later in the day into the early part of tonight. By tomorrow morning, we'll have a noticeable breeze again. In the overnight hours, breeze may actually pick up in intensity out of the north and northwest as a reinforcing shot of cold air comes in. And this will do a couple of things. It'll maintain the cold temperatures around here that we've had over the past couple of days, and it'll actually help to clear the skies tomorrow. We'll see, should have plenty of sunshine in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and that follows very cloudy day yesterday, very cloudy day today as well. Then we move forward here, and basically this high pressure system takes control on Wednesday and Thursday, and that's the point where we start to monitor closely this low pressure area come Friday morning down across the Carolina coastline. And again, odds right now favor it staying to the south and east of the I-95 corridor as it heads out to sea. It won't take much of a shift to the north to change that outlook for the end of the week, but it's something we'll monitor over the next couple of days. And here we go by the weekend. That is off the coast, and then we'll start to monitor another system diving into first the deep south here by Sunday afternoon, and then really along the northern Gulf Coast by Monday morning, and that then takes a turn to the north and east. And again, it could impact the I-95 corridor region maybe later Monday into Tuesday. Remember, this is the GFS model that we showed. We showed this yesterday's video discussion, and it had the low pressure area well to the west here, and I thought that looked very unrealistic, and it would jump to the south and east. Indeed it has. In fact, so much so right now it has a minimal impact early next week on the I-95 corridor. We've got plenty of time for that to change, and it's something that we'll monitor certainly during the upcoming weekend. First, we have to deal with the storm threat on Friday. So active weather pattern, something that could change at a moment's notice. So stay tuned to perspectiveweather.com for updates not only later today but throughout the upcoming week. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.